time for another great episode of Laugh and Be Blessed with your hosts, Jake and Chia Throuple.
Hello.
This is sounding weird. I'm fixing this. There. Okay, I think it's better now. So, with us, we have an extremely special guest. One of my good buddies who we're finally able to start hanging out. We talk all the time on social media, and we always admire each other from afar. If that's an okay thing to say.
I admire you from a lot closer than you might think.
With us today is my buddy AJ Wilkerson. So thanks for being on the podcast.
Absolutely,
dude.
Man.
AJ is a comedian and heartthrob and an actor now.
Yeah. Put that on your list.
He's got an acting credit. That's. Can we talk about that on the podcast? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So
big deal to us.
Yeah. So anyone who listens to the podcast knows, because we've talked about it many times, how much we love the View Askew universe. We're huge Kevin Smith fans. We love Jane Silent Bob, and our friend AJ here is in Clerks III.
Yeah.
So, dream come true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even for me to be like, my friend's in that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it works. It's still fun.
It's cool for me to be adjacent. Like, my husband has a friend who's in.
He's in our room. He's your friend now, too.
I just became an actor, and I already have 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. This is fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome. So AJ's in town doing some shows with me. We had a show last night in Spencer, in my hometown, and dude, that was a hot show.
That was so much fun.
That was surprisingly, like, there was so much more people there than I thought were going to be there. I was very excited.
Yeah, it was crazy, like, just how great everybody was. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we had like 100. I think it was like 150 people showed up around there, and everybody was just invested in the show.
That has to go down in history as probably the best food truck rally / comedy show done next to a highway in the history of the state of Indiana.
I agree.
I agree. I don't know how many they are, but that was the best one.
It was so fantastic. It was just like, and it was cold outside, and it's the first one we've ever done, so I wasn't sure how it was going to go. But, dude, it was... Well, and the thing is like, everybody on the show did great. Grant did wonderful. He started the show off, did great. John Cheshire went up, and he did awesome. His music's great. His songs are hilarious.
Yes.
He did such a good job. And then AJ went up and just crushed for like a half hour. Yeah. Just crushed. So much so, like, I was watching family members of mine just doubled over laughing. Yeah. and then I had to follow that. That sucked. Like,
you did good.
Yeah, dude, you did fantastic.
The way you said it, no. The way you said it like a mom. That's just like, honey, it's fine.
You did good.
It's fine.
Grant didn't open the show, by the way.
That is true. Yeah, you are correct on that. Mm-hmm. Grant technically did not open the show. Roman opened the show.
Roman did.
Yes.
So that was Roman's first time ever
getting up on stage.
And it was funny because before he asked if he could do it, he was like, "Can I tell some jokes tonight?" And I was like, "Yes." And then he was like, "Oh, I was just kidding. And I was like, "No, dude, if you really want to." And he's like, "Can I really?" And I was like, "Do you want to start the show?" And he's like, "Can I?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, if you want to start the show, you can do it." And he goes, well, I don't even know what to say. I was like, "You just got to pump them up, dude. You just got to pump them up and then bring me on stage." And then he went up there and he was like, he was just holding the mic for like a while. And you could just tell he was so nervous. And he was just like, "Are you guys ready for comedy?" And then, but the thing is, people like loved it.
Yeah.
And then they were applauding him and everything. So I watched him get his first high from doing comedy, to where he was like, "Oh, this is it."
And you can tell by the way he like introduced you and everything that he's been to a few comedy shows.
Yeah, because he was like, "Are you guys ready for some comedy?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I can't hear you." Yeah. And he goes, "All right, give it up for my dad, Jake Rubel." And that's like one of the most proudest moments ever of being a dad.
Best intro ever, huh?
Yeah, he's going on the road with me. That kid's doing stuff with me.
That's how you start a special.
Yeah.
Well,
I think, didn't Nate Bargatze do that with one of his specials? I think he had his daughter.
I think so.
Yeah, she was like, my dad, Nate Bargatze. And I'll do it.
I mean, if you take him, you have to take the other two, so.
Well, that's not...
No.
We didn't discuss that.
What?
Just have them harmonize like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Our dad!
Yeah. Holden would not do that.
No, he's like, nope.
Yeah, the youngest and oldest, they're in. The middle one, nah, he ain't doing it.
He'd take care of the money for you.
Yeah. Yeah, he would definitely do that. So before we really get into stuff, I want to just remind people real quick where I am going to be coming out.
Mark your calendars. Jake could be coming to a town near you.
What?
I was getting my calendar. I don't have
You gonna
anything.
get your calendar? All right. So this week, which is October 21st, I'm going to be at the White Rabbit Cabaret in Indianapolis doing the Dead Comics show. This is a show that I'm really excited about because it's way out of my comfort zone because I'm going to be doing a 3-minute set as Sam Kinison. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. So that's going to be this Thursday, October 21st, White Rabbit Cabaret in Indianapolis. You can get your tickets online if you go to my Facebook page, Jake Rubel on Facebook. The tickets are available there. And then this Friday and Saturday coming up, the 22nd and 23rd, I will be in Zany's, or I'll be in Nashville, Tennessee at Zany's, opening for Donnie Baker. Those are always fantastic shows. Every show I ever do with Donnie, I have so much fun. So if you're anywhere around Nashville, Tennessee this weekend, you got to come out and see Donnie Baker. You can get your tickets at zanys.com or donniebaker.com. They should be available there as well. And then the 24th, I'm going to be back in Bloomington, Indiana at Hoppy Wobbles with Matt Taylor, Carl Roberts, and George Tallarico. That is going to be a free show in Bloomington, Indiana with some great comedians. It's going to be hosted by Grant Volkmar. So, yeah, come out and check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun there. And then this month on the 28th, so October 28th, I'm going to be at Helium Comedy Club in Indianapolis. I believe the show is at, I want to say 7 o'clock. You can get your tickets at Helium's website. It is for the Rogues Gallery show, the 28th. So that's going to be a fun show. The lineup for the show is insane. Some of the comics they have on this show is incredible. I have no idea how I snuck onto it. So that's going to be the 28th. Then the 29th and 30th, I'm going to be back at Gutty's Comedy Club in Greenwood, Indiana. I'm going to be featuring for Joey Aiello, and I'm probably mispronouncing his name, and I think he's in the Mafia, so that's probably going to be bad news for me. So, but those are going to be super fun shows. And as always, you can get your tickets for that at Gutty'sComedyClub.com. And then in November 5th and 6th, I'm going to be in Nebraska with Donnie Baker. So I know one of our shows is in Lincoln, Nebraska. I cannot remember where the other one is. But if you go to DonnieBaker.com, you can get your tickets for those shows. So if you're anywhere around Nebraska, those are going to be super fun. You're not going to want to miss out on those. And then on November 12th, I will be in Springfield, Michigan at JB's Whiskey Old Style Grill. Some of these places have the best names.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the best name. The one-nighters. It's
oh,
like,
yeah.
I just did a show last month in Turkeyville, USA. It was a weird, old, haunted Cracker Barrel type place. So
a Cracker Barrel.
Basically. Yeah, exactly. So Springfield, Michigan, November 12th, and then Leesburg, Indiana on November 13th. So come out to any of those shows. They're going to be super fantastic. They're going to be super fun. AJ, where are you going to be?
Well, speaking of one-nighters with fun names, this upcoming week, October 19th, I'll be in Olathe, Kansas, out on the edge of Kansas City, at a place called Lumpy's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Lumpy's.
Yep. And then October 22nd and 23rd, I'm in Houston, Texas for the APCA College Conference. And then November 2nd, I'm at the world famous Comedy Store in LA for Roast Battle.
Yes.
And then, November 2nd. And then November 3rd, I'm at the Comedy Chateau in Los Angeles, taping a special for television.
That's right.
Yeah. Then, let's see, Knuckleheads in Kansas City, November 10th, and then November 17th through 21st, I'll be in Raleigh, North Carolina, with Jason Mewes at Good Nights Comedy Club.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yep. And then back to Florida, right before Thanksgiving, the 22nd through the 24th, at Lazy Max in the Villages for Bonkers Comedy Clubs. So yeah,
just killing it, just out there killing it. I'm excited. I can't wait to watch the taping.
Me either, man. I'm pretty excited about that.
What's it going to be on?
Not confirmed yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but they've already secured distribution for it.
Okay.
So
dope.
I don't know who it's through, but I know it's going to be distributed.
Yeah, it's getting out there. It's getting out there. That's what's important. Awesome. Well, so we're going to focus a lot on you, obviously. People hear us talk all the time, so we want to let people know who you are and why you're such a good dude to hang out with.
Well, before I answer that question, I have a question for you. Am I a very special guest because I'm autistic? Because when you said very special, I was like, he emphasized that a lot. I'm a comedian. I'm autistic. I smoke a lot of weed, and yeah, I'm from Florida.
It just sums it up right there.
Now that's the special part, is the Florida.
That's what makes me special. It does.
Yeah, because he's not there right now. It's like, how'd you get out? So you now. For you were before comedy, so you were in the military. You were not diagnosed yet with being autistic. You're in the military. How do you go from being in the military to driving around the country and being a stand-up comedian and living your dream?
Well, there was a lot of stuff in between those two things. I joined the Army right after high school, basically. Like, I started community college, and my first semester I met a recruiter, joined the Army. I was undiagnosed at the time. I don't know if they'd have let me in if they knew I was autistic beforehand. But the Army was really good for me because you have like a regular routine.
It's very
like
structured.
It's very structured, yeah. So I was really good at being in the Army until I wasn't. You know what I mean? I started. I was staying in these barracks in Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio for a while, and then those barracks got like closed down because they found like a ton of like black mold and stuff in it. So
nice.
yeah,
That's fun.
and so while I was staying in those barracks, I started like having these like breathing problems and stuff, and I would start having these weird breathing attacks.
One will do. Black
And
mold.
then and then those started giving me panic attacks, like anxiety attacks. And then shortly after that, I had like a training accident. I hurt my back really bad. I had to have surgery, so I couldn't do anything at all for like a month and a half. And so I lost my routines completely. Started having what I thought were just like really bad panic attacks. Turns out were autism meltdowns. Just secret agent man. And yeah, basically that's around 2008. And so the Army was like, "Hey man, we don't know what's going on with your head, but you can't be here." Yeah.
Okay, so then...
So they kind of snuck me out.
Snuck it just right out the back door.
They're like, look, these are your, like, basically go, like, you have leave, go home, use, like, all of the leave you have left, and we'll just send you separation papers, basically. Yeah. The Army divorced me.
In a weird way. They're like, go stay the night somewhere else, and then we're changing the locks.
Yeah, basically.
You just come back, and they're like, those barracks ain't here no more.
This isn't your home no more.
Stop coming here. So after that, is that Like, at what point was you like, okay, well, I'm going to be a comedian?
So that wasn't until, so I got out of the Army in 2009, worked a bunch of, like, different, like, went back, like, into construction and stuff, because that's what I grew up doing. Worked at Lowe's, worked for Nissan, worked for AT&T, got married, got divorced, and basically, I started, like having more, like mental health kind of issues and stuff like that, and started getting that looked at, and then eventually got led to, like, you know, you might be autistic. I was like, oh shit, cool. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But yeah, and then got diagnosed when I was 30. Finally got an autism ADHD diagnosis. Got prescribed medical marijuana, and then a month after that, I started going to open mics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because once I got diagnosed, I started working with this, like, therapist and stuff, and basically we were talking one, like, she was like, you have, like, such a creative brain, you need an outlet to get these ideas out of your head, because you have so much stuff, it's putting pressure on, like, your executive functioning skills and self-regulation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, yeah, it's like basically your hard drive is too full, like, you don't have the space to edit things, you know?
Gotcha.
And because at the time I wanted to make my own, like, adult cartoon, so I was trying to teach myself to draw and animate and storyboard and script write and all this other stuff. And she's like, you just put all these hurdles in front of the actual creative part.
Yeah.
Like, so she was like, why don't you try going to an open mic? And I was like, good point. I wanted to do that before, but I just thought, like, I had anxiety too bad to ever be on stage in front of people. But turns out medical marijuana kind of helps with that. So yeah. And
that's the medical part.
Yeah, that's the medical part. Yeah. And then, yeah, I never stopped.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, I think, for a lot of people, whenever you find out, like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
That was exactly it.
Yeah.
I've worked so many different jobs, like, and I'd start a job, I'd be really good at it for like 5 months, and then get burnt out and be like, why do I hate this job now?
What does that remind me of?
Same.
Yep.
I had a 2-year threshold for jobs.
No, you had a 1 year, and then you would force yourself to go another year.
I
But
guess that's
he would
true,
have a
yeah.
year where he was into it, and it was great. And then I noticed after several years being together, that 1 year mark, he'd start hating it. He hated everything about it.
Yep.
And
Yeah, but look at us now.
Yeah.
We're doing the thing.
yeah, you've been doing this for over 2 years now, and you still haven't come to that point with comedy, so
Yeah.
I think this is it.
Well, it's because with comedy, you're not really a comedian until you're like 10 years into it. Like, we're not even
true.
Yeah, we're still.
We're
playing.
technically
Yeah.
interns.
Yeah. Like, if we have a conversation with anyone else that's been doing it for a long time, they don't take us serious at all. They're like, oh yeah, a couple years, yeah, shut up, sit down. It's like, okay, I'll earn my place. I'll sit down and shut up. I actually just seen a whole conversation on Facebook with some guys that were like, you've been doing it for 7 years, well, why don't you just shut up and come talk to me? You've been doing it for 15. And I was like, man, I hope I'm not like that.
Yeah, but
Well, what's funny is most of those same comics, they'll say something like that to you, then you'll go on stage, and then after your set, then they want to be your friend again. They're like,
oh, that's good. Yeah, what's up, man?
Oh,
And
I
it's
was
like,
going to
okay.
say, well, do those people who say, come see me when you've been doing it 15, do they get it from the people who are like, come see me when you've been doing it 30, you know?
Probably.
dude, you've been doing it 15 years, and you still can't get people to come see you.
Yeah. I'm just like, dude, usually my go-to whenever people say stuff like that to me is I'm like, I don't know, dude. I'm just trying to have a good time. I feel like we're all just trying to do our thing and have a good time and figure it out. So
Yep.
I have no answers. I'm just trying to figure it out. What's going to work best for me. So, but I mean, so you started comedy as therapy then? Like it was like therapy.
Kind of,
for you.
yeah. It was like therapy homework.
Yeah, therapy homework. It's
Like instead of go home and fill out this paperwork, it was like, go get some stuff off your chest.
So your therapist was just like, go tell someone else.
Yeah, basically, like, you got a lot going on. All right?
I need help.
Yeah.
That therapist.
I need you to clear some things out yourself so we can pick something to focus on.
Yeah.
All right, I need you to Marie Kondo tidy some stuff up upstairs.
Figure out what's the most important to talk to me about. Talk to them about
Instead
everything
of coming
else.
to me with 15 things at once,
Exactly.
go tell all those those people and then bring me one.
So I am curious though, like what is that reaction whenever you're 30 years old and they're like, oh, by the way, you're autistic? Like, was there even a question? Did you ever think, like, maybe I'm autistic? Or was this just, like, out of nowhere?
Kind of out of nowhere. Because it was, like, things like, once someone pointed it out and I started doing, like, the research about it, then things started, like, clicking into place. Right. But it was just, like, it was just never really a thing. Like, my parents, when I was a little kid, like, because I've had this conversation with them, like, once I got the diagnosis, so many things made sense, and it's, like, things I talk about on stage. It's like, how did you guys not know?
Yeah, right.
Exhibit A!
Autism has such a stigma about it.
I think it's partially that, but also my parents, because I was smart, like I was an intelligent kid, so I think my parents were just like, there's nothing wrong with him, he's just smart, so he's gonna be weird,
yeah, he's just
just a little nerd, you know?
Gotcha, yeah.
So my parents, like, answer to that was like, we're just gonna hyper socialize them. Just really get him used to being around people. So like all the little league sports, like any kind of team they could put me on, I was on it.
Okay.
And then, I mean, probably unrelated, not saying it's the reason they did it, but my parents started doing foster care when I was growing up. So like there were always extra kids in the house, and both of my parents coached little league, so all of those extra kids were always in the house because like people would come over for sleepovers and stuff with my brother and sister, and so there were always like a dozen kids running around.
But I feel like, and I don't know anything. Obviously, I'm an idiot. I think anyone who listens to this podcast knows I know nothing. But like autism also is like this thing where I feel like people are just now figuring things out with it.
Yeah, that's what I meant by
spectrum,
like the
where it's like
the stigma.
There's so many different types. Well, I don't know types, but like
no, you're right. But that's part of the like. There's so much stigma around it, and so many things people don't realize because like think about like media conditioning, right? Like. For a long time, the only two examples most people knew of autism was Rain Man and Forrest Gump.
Yep.
Right.
So it's like if you weren't Rain Man or Forrest Gump, you weren't autistic.
Yeah.
And then but then looking at it now, like there's still kind of that thing. Like you're either a savant or you're a complete idiot. Like The Good Doctor, right?
Yeah.
Or like. This might be controversial, but have you guys seen on Netflix Love on the Spectrum?
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
I don't like it.
You don't?
No, because, okay, you can't call the show Love on the Spectrum, but then only use one color palette. Right? It's because they're casting it for television. They cast it almost the same way they would like The Bachelor or something. It's like, let's pick the most, basically they're like, let's pick the people that struggle the most but are, like, good, like basically like they cherry pick who they want to put on television, and they only show like a very limited version of what the autism spectrum is.
What a horrible casting call that would have to be there. Like they're just all right, bring in the next one. They're like, not autistic enough, get out.
Exactly. Like, that's basically what happens.
Like you're probably right because
like there's they're not autistic enough. That one's too autistic. This one's just right. So they Goldilocks us.
Yes, that's what I was thinking as you were saying it.
Oh man.
So
now I don't like the show as much. And I loved that show. We've talked about that show on the podcast before.
No, I mean it's a great show, and it's great to have it's great that it's like an increased version of like representation.
Sure.
Yeah. But again, you can't call it Love on the Spectrum and then not show the whole spectrum.
Right.
You know, especially when it's not a dating show. It's technically like it's so like almost like documentary style.
Yes.
That you could very easily include like there are autistic people who are married, there are autistic people with children and who raise families and all this autistic CEOs and like
Yeah, it's kind of misleading because it's love on the spectrum, but yet you're not actually showing anyone who's on the spectrum in love and having a functional family and everything. So it just makes it seem like
it's so hard. It's so hard.
It makes it seem like we're all lonely and love-starved,
Yeah.
and none of us can have successful relationships. But even like the casting is so like it adds to like even old like harmful stereotypes. Like back in like the 40s and 50s, like when autism was still so new. Do you know what like one of like the medical like causes that they used to say like caused autism was refrigerator mothers. They literally said kids got autism because their moms were cold and distant and didn't hug them enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I never heard that term, refrigerator mother.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been proven false. But people still think that.
I was thinking whenever you said refrigerator, I was like, is that just a mom who's feeding the kids? It's like, I mean, that's
I was thinking, is that a mom that doesn't breastfeed? Is that what they mean by it?
Yeah.
That was thought to be the case for a while. Yeah. All kinds of stuff like that.
Well, the cool thing is though is like I see the direction you're moving in, and it's a direction that I'm stoked for because you're skyrocketing really quickly, which is good. But a lot of work has went into it. It's not like, oh, this is just happening. I mean, I see you're working hard at it to make these things happen. But like whenever like these shows this weekend, people can look at you and they're like, this dude's going to be a star. Like, people are getting pictures with you. They're asking for your art because they know in, like, a couple years, they're going to be turning on the TV.
That's why they keep looking at it.
But, I mean, so I think it's awesome that, like, you have this mind frame where you're just like, yeah, that show's great, but it's not enough. Like, it's not, it's a start.
Exactly.
But why aren't we doing it up here?
Like, why aren't we trying to do better?
Yeah. And I think it's fantastic that you're so vocal, because you're extremely vocal about it to where you're just like, oh, by the way, I'm autistic.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just being like, well, no, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, and I try to be vocal about it because not all of us can be. But also because, like, I don't fit the stereotype. So I think, like, that, like, hey, I'm also, like, that thing you only think about this one certain way, I'm also that thing. Like, broaden your horizons.
See,
expand your definition.
You brought up those two examples, but for me, growing up with a nurse mom, she used to do pediatric home health care. Mm-hmm. And so the autistic kids I was around were the ones that were
severe nonverbal, PDD and NOS or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So forever I thought that was only what autism was. And so it's just crazy now being an adult and now that they know more about autism, looking at how wide the spectrum is.
Yeah. And I love, like you saying, you are vocal about it, and I love the way that you are vocal. One of my favorite videos, and anyone who's listening to this should go on social media and follow AJ Wilkerson on all social media. But you
Captain Autism Comedy on TikTok.
Oh, there you go. Captain Autism Comedy on TikTok. Yeah, which is I think it's on your TikTok.
I know which one you're talking about.
And you know what I'm talking about. Tell us the story.
So I was hosting an open mic in Orlando, Florida, at a place called Copper Rocket. Super fun show to do. But I was hosting and I was doing some of my material about being autistic. And this lady at the bar was talking to her date, not paying attention. So the first thing she heard me say was retard strength.
Oh, no.
But then she turned around because she wasn't paying attention, and she's like, you can't talk about autistic people that way. And I was like, lady, you missed the whole part where I said I'm autistic, you know? And she just started throwing this fit. But then she said something that I was like, oh, yeah, this is like those things people think about autism. Yeah. She was like, you're not autistic. And I was like, yeah, I am. I'll show you my diagnosis after this. She's like, I don't care about your diagnosis. I just know the autistic people, autistic people would never be able to get on stage and talk to people like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter that you're sitting there trying to educate her and say, I have a diagnosis. She's locked in her little box. This is what autism is.
Well, no, but what was funny was other people, like when she said that, other people in the room started laughing at her.
Oh, no.
Oh, that was my favorite part.
It turned the tide, it immediately turned the tide, and I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, because I think, pretty sure from watching, I've watched it a few times and sent it to some people because I'm like, you gotta watch my dude. Just shut this heckler down. It's great. She was like, the autistic people I know could never do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then the whole room just goes, oh, because they were just like, now you're stereotyping.
Yeah. Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, she thought that, I'm going to be a champion. And it's like, well, you're talking to someone who's autistic, telling them the way an autistic person is supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're literally silencing an authentic voice.
Yeah. Man, so again, people need to follow you on social media because not only do you do funny stuff like that, but then also your comedy that you post on there. Like you posted for you just did the roast battle in LA a couple months ago, right, or a month ago?
No, I went out for roast battle last month, but it got canceled the day of. But since I was already out there, Brian Moses reached out to me. From Roast Battle, and he was like, dude, just come up to the store, like, I put you down as, like, my special guest, like, just come hang out, like, something good's gonna happen. And then Adam Ray brought me on as a special guest in the original room of the Comedy Store.
God,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
and then because it had been canceled the week before, and I just didn't get the email until the day of, so they went ahead and gave me like a makeup date and stuff. So I'm going back to finally do roast battle next month.
So what's the roast battle that you have on your TikTok? What's that?
That's from Tampa.
Okay,
Tampa has a really great comedy scene, and there are a lot of like working comics that are based out of Tampa, like Cam Bertrand, who's like amazing dry bar special. He was just on America's Got Talent.
Yep, super
that
funny.
dude's based out of Tampa. JJ Curry's super funny, based out of Tampa. But they built up this amazing scene, and so the last Sunday of every month they have a Tampa Roast League. So they do like bracket style roast battles, and every month there's a champion. You know?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and they keep everybody's like record and everything. So there are like stats for roast battle.
Wow,
yeah,
that's rad.
And that was me and my buddy Matt Carter did it, like roasted each other. And it's funny because he's like you, like he's like a super positive, super nice, super fun guy, and I'm the same way. Like, but it hurts our feelings to hurt people's feelings, and so roasting each other, like there's one, he says a joke and then he turns and puts his head against the wall and he just goes like.
I don't think I could roast anyone.
I don't think so either, but then sometimes when I'm on stage, I accidentally do it anyways.
Well, that's the thing, because like. I won't say all, but I'd say a lot of funny people are funny because they developed it as like a survival technique.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah, like if you can
shows
roast
up.
the bully, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or make him laugh.
Or roast
I was
myself
gonna say,
before
Exactly.
they have a chance to. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is what I feel like I did growing up, because I was super poor. I was the kid with the horrible teeth that was super poor. But I was friends with everyone because before you could make fun of me, I've already done it 10 times before you even walked up.
Yeah.
I had the whole lunch table rolling talking about how horrible of a life I have. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that humor, that sense of humor carries over, you know what I mean? And that's what roasting is. It's like, I'm going to say the insulting thing before you can say the insulting thing.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It still seems like it'd be hard to do. But
it's hard, but it's also a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun. It's even more fun when you're doing it with people you guys genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
It's that, you
That's
know,
how
it's
it
that,
has to be
because
for
then it's tongue in cheek, it's not
Sure.
meant to, you know what I mean?
yeah, at the end of the day, you're still my dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of being like, I don't know this guy, he's just making fun of me. But then again, I don't know, maybe good friendships can start like that too.
I don't think, for one, I'd feel too bad, but I also don't think I can do it because I'm not witty enough. Like, I'm not good at the comebacks. So.
Yeah, you are.
No.
You're better than you think you are. People talk about it on the show all the time.
Well, I am to you because
Well, that's the thing. You just gotta.
I just would have to pretend you're only there and then be like.
Yeah, just twist it and make it something.
Because then
different.
I'm like, he won't judge me, so it's fine. I can say whatever about whoever.
Oh, you be judged. I'll be judging. I just do it silently because you pay my bills.
That's right. No, keep doing it.
So we had a conversation last night that I want to talk a little bit about, because there are some comedians who listen to this about your grind. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you basically being like, okay, this doesn't make sense for anyone else. No one else would do this, but I'm going to do it because I just have a feeling if I do, something's going to come from it. So you like you said earlier, you opened for Jay Mewes on the road. That's as of right now, that's like your main dude that you're running with. You have your other shows that you're doing and everything, which is awesome. But like that's the thing that you're going to work everything else around. When those dates open up, you're like, I'll cancel everything to do that. So tell me how you tell people listening how you got that.
Okay, so before COVID, I got booked to do this tour with this entertainment company out of Tallahassee, Florida. So I basically moved to Tallahassee to this house they had rented us for like 6 months. It was supposed to be for our like rehearsals before the tour, and the entire duration of the tour we're living in this house. And we got to Tallahassee, we signed paperwork, moved into the house, and then 2 days later, lockdown started. Yeah. So we stayed rehearsed.
That's a horror movie. That is exactly what that is.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like any of you enough to spend the apocalypse with you.
Yeah, I'm eating one of you.
Yeah, I had that person picked out.
Yeah,
exactly. But, so, we were able to stay in the house for a couple months, because it was already paid for, but instead of, like, trying to, like, sign a lease and get, like, a place in the middle of COVID, I just decided, I was like, well, now's the time to do it. Like, if we're ever going to really try and do this, like, COVID puts things into perspective. It's like, no, I'm putting all of my eggs in this basket because, I don't want to waste time with another basket.
Yeah. I already built this one.
Yeah, exactly.
I was weaving and everything.
Yeah. So I bought a 1987 GMC Safari, 5-speed manual, like, passenger van that had previously been like a wheelchair van, so it had one of those little fiberglass tops on it. And just like converted it into a camper as cheaply and quickly as I could. Nice. Basically, I just built a bunk in the back and got like some storage bins and just used like power tool batteries and stuff like that. And I got like one of those little solar batteries I could recharge with the cigarette lighter. And that's what I run all my stuff on. And I just hit the road.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so my first big road trip out in the van, I happened to go through Kansas City. I had a comedy buddy who had moved there, and they were doing a showcase at this comedy club. So I was just going to go for a visit, and he gave me a spot on that show. I met the club owner, and then 3 weeks later, they posted that they were going to run like a competition show, and the winner would get to open for Jay Mewes. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, I want to like submit to come do the contest. And he's like, I remember you. You don't need to like send a video. And he's like, are you sure you want to drive back to Kansas City from Florida to do this like competition show and maybe win a spot? And I was like, yeah, I'm like, it's Jason Mewes. Like, I'm a Jay and Silent Bob fan. Like, I'm.
But not only that, to put a pin right there.
Yeah.
It's the fact of you had the I wouldn't say like courage, but you had like the almost
the stunts?
Arrogance, to be like, I could do that. Mm-hmm. So how far of a drive was that for you?
Where I was from in Florida to Kansas City is like 1,100 miles.
Yeah, so 1,100 miles to do a show that you're not getting paid for on the possibility, if you are better than these other people this night, not like, are you a better comedian, but can you make this specific crowd laugh harder than these other guys on this night, then you can just open. And it's not like they weren't saying, now you can work in this club. They're just saying, okay, then you can just open for Jamie.
Yeah, you basically win a 10-minute spot, like a guest spot, to open his show.
Most people wouldn't even think of doing that.
Yeah.
It would just be like, that would be cool if it was close by. But you felt something that was like, I want to do it. I want to meet Jay Mewes. I have a good feeling about it. I'm going to go do it. And then you won.
Yeah. Yeah, I won. I won the competition to open for him. And then went and did, like, took the van, did some other shows and stuff like that, and then came back, like, a month later to do the show with Jay. And it wasn't opening for the week because he was there for the entire weekend, like Thursday through Sunday. Yeah, it was one show.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had worked it out. I was booked that weekend in Florida. So I picked the Thursday night show. Mm-hmm. So I was doing a 10-minute spot Thursday night for Jay, and then driving straight back through the night, like 16 hours to make it back to Florida. So the following night, I could do Friday night and Saturday night at Margaritaville in Orlando for Bonkers Comedy Clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. To host at Bonkers Comedy Clubs. Because I wasn't in with Bonkers yet, so that was like my audition to work for Bonkers.
Yeah, and you can't pass that up because
Nope.
that's the thing. You'll make the drive for that.
Exactly. But that 10-minute set went so great. Like, I got a standing ovation for a 10-minute set. They have like a ramp and then like a swinging door that goes back into like the green room. And it's like a backstage area, and then the green room is also back there. Came off stage back into the green room area, and his road manager was there, and he's like, hey, like, that was amazing. Jay wants to know if you're like comfortable with like flying, like he wants you to come out and open some shows for him. And then Jay stuck his head out of the green room, and he's like, hey, Broseph, can you get on planes and shit?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Had you met him yet?
Kind of like right before I went on stage, because
Yeah.
I was basically right behind that swinging door when they like call my name. So I was standing there in like kind of like the on deck circle, and he poked his head out of the green room, and he was like asking if like the one of the servers had come back yet, and I was like, oh, not yet. And he's like, oh, hey, like, nice to meet you, blah blah blah. Came over, and they had there's a little table back there, and they had this little ukulele on it, but it was like a steampunk ukulele, you know, it had like gears and stuff on it. And I don't even remember what I said, but he was like, oh, this is cool, and he picked it up and started playing with it. And I think that's what I said. I was like, yeah, it's like a little steampunk ukulele, like or something else. But he laughed, and I was like, oh, cool, I made Jason Mewes laugh.
Yeah.
And then I went on stage right after that.
How much I probably
Crazy.
laughed. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing is like...
Because he hadn't been like rolling back there to want you to come.
Well, no. So this is actually a funny story I found out from Matt, his road manager, like months later. So right after he talked to me, he was asking if the server had come back yet, because she was supposed to be bringing him something, but he was about to basically take a nap. Because that dude like works insane like crazy hours.
Right.
Like he like streams like on Twitch like almost 8 hours a day. And so when he's touring, like he like travel, all that kind of stuff, and then Twitch streams like 8 to 12 hours a day, comes to the club. If you have 2 shows, you're at the club sometimes 8 hours. So, and then he goes back to his hotel and streams some more, you know?
Wow.
So he normally naps like from the time the host goes up to like basically 5 minutes before the feature's off. He wakes up, crushes a Red Bull, you know, maybe takes a drag of a cigarette or something, and then goes on stage. So he closed that door right as I was going on stage so he could start his nap, and then he texted Matt. Matt was outside smoking a cigarette. Texted Matt. And he was like, hey, man, what's going on out there? And Matt had come in from his cigarette and was in the crowd watching my set. And Jay couldn't sleep because the noise from the crowd coming through was too loud for him to sleep.
So awesome.
And
I'm sorry he couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Matt texted him back. He's like, this dude is killing. You have to come see it. So Jay stuck his head through that swinging door. Just his floating head watched like the rest of my set.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dig it.
That is
awesome.
so cool. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, but that's what I'm saying is like, if you would not have just been like, I guess I'll just drive, 14 hours or whatever to go do this show for something I might not even get, that never would have happened.
Well, it's kind of like the if you build it, they will come, but it's like the if you go, things will come.
Dude,
like good things will come.
There's a path before you walk down it, and good things are going to happen. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's been going on. But, man, I love that story.
Yeah.
You've told me like 5 times, and I still wanted to hear it again.
It's a good story.
It's a great story.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You told me a little bit last night, but you didn't tell me that much detail. That is insane.
Yeah.
And then going from there, so then you started opening for him on the road and everything. And so you guys started to kind of develop like at least an acquaintanceship. Like,
Oh yeah.
And then you guys become friends, and then I mean you even went to the Secret Stash not too long ago. We were talking. You went to Red Bank.
Yeah.
That's one of our destination places. People are probably like,
It's
what?
so
I'm like,
cool.
Red Bank, New Jersey. We're going one day.
It's so
But
cool.
you have the Secret Stash there, and then Bon Jovi's restaurant is there too, isn't it?
Who cares?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
There is a really cool.
I feel like there's some of
There's two different names for them, but like New Jersey has these like they're like these ham roll things, like they're ham and cheese rolled croissant kind of things, and they're ham rolls. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're amazing. And so while we were at the store, at the Secret Stash, like when we took a break, because him and Kevin Smith were there doing like meet and greet events kind of thing. So in between, like when everybody like stopped and broke for lunch, Jay took me over to this spot and like got me one. It was like, dude, you have to try this, and it is amazing. Those
Yeah.
things are so good.
Yeah. I can't wait till we go.
We're gonna go one day.
Yeah, definitely. So, but then you go from there, and then you get cast as an extra in Clerks III.
Yeah, so I started touring with Jay and doing stuff with him, and then when we were up in New Jersey, because we were doing a weekend at the Bananas Comedy Club in Hasbrook Heights, the same weekend during the day they were doing the meet and greets in Red Bank. So after the Friday night show, they were doing meet and greets Saturday and Sunday. So he's like, dude, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, like, come down and hang out and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he was like, actually, do me a favor, because I was staying in the hotel because that comedy club is in the bottom of the hotel.
Gotcha.
So I was staying in the hotel, but he was staying in Red Bank at like a movie producer friend's mansion.
Of course.
Yeah. So he was like, hey, do me a favor, come early, like meet me at this address, like make sure, because I'll be streaming late tonight, so just make sure I'm up in time we make it over and come over to the meet and greets with me. So I went.
Oh God, no pressure.
Yeah. So I drove over there, like got him. We, went in to do the meet and greets, and when we get there, he takes me in and like starts introducing me to people.
Yeah.
And then he takes me over to Kevin Smith to introduce me to Kevin Smith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm already losing it a little bit.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
But
Did you pee a little?
He filled it.
define a little. Yeah. But so before I left for New Jersey, before like I took off in the van from Florida up to New Jersey, we were talking about Jay's wife Jordan like manages everything like for the Smodcast and stuff. So she was messaging me about travel stuff, like making sure I didn't want to fly. I was like, no, I'm bringing the van, all that kind of stuff. She's
Give
like,
me some.
okay.
That's my guy.
Yeah. She's like, okay, cool. And then she goes, hey, by the way, so that show in Kansas City where I first opened for Jay, that 10-minute set, Matt, the road manager, was like, hey, like, I know you filmed the set, upload that video and send me the link for it. And so I had sent him the link for it. He sent it to Jordan. Jordan, while we're talking about travel, she goes, oh, by the way, I sent your video to Kevin.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and then she's like, he was impressed. He thinks, he thought it was great. So I had this was like a couple of weeks before I actually left for New Jersey.
Right.
So I'm there. I had forgotten all about it.
Sure.
Right? Jay goes to introduce me to Kevin, and Kevin interrupts him. Kevin Smith stops Jay, and he's like, you're AJ, right?
Yes.
You're so fucking funny, man. I came in my pants.
Yeah.
I'm not even sorry for saying that.
No, dude.
That's fine.
Well, that's the thing. Is like because we've had the conversation before about how much his movies mean to the both of us.
Yep.
Like we instantly bonded over that. Like,
Yeah.
And I've talked about it on the show before. I'm married to her because of Mallrats.
Yeah.
I worked in a movie store, so I worked at Movie Gallery in Spencer. I was I was
clerk
Randall.
there.
The one that's still there, like it's not open anymore, but it's
It's
still
a
there.
restaurant.
It's a
now,
restaurant
but yeah.
now, but
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, you could see it where we were.
No,
She's
in Ellisville.
talking-
Because I went back.
It was
Yeah.
across the street from where we were.
Nice.
Where our show was, it was complete. It was just
If you
diagonal.
would have looked
Nice.
diagonal and seen a restaurant. that's
So
what it
she came in, she rented a movie, and then she went home, and then I got into the computer and got her phone number, and called her.
You adorable little creep.
I was going to say, if it didn't work out, it would have been very stalkery.
Yeah,
but...
so totally creeped on her. But I called her, and the first movie we watched was on the phone. We watched Mallrats. We did the whole thing. We both had a copy, and we did the thing like 1, 2, 3, play. So we watched Mallrats together. I mean, the whole time, and like that was the thing for me because I didn't know any other girls who liked Kevin Smith movies. You know, it was just my scumbag friends and me. So this girl not only liked Kevin Smith movies, but she got the jokes. She knew the jokes. She was talking about the other Kevin Smith movie. She's talking about Dogma. She brought up Chasing Amy, you know, and I'm like, what? Like, who are you? So, like, fell in love with her. So if it was not for Kevin Smith, I might not have
kids. He would
kids.
be like, she's not cool.
Who knows? Like,
so Kevin Smith owes you child support, basically.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on.
You're responsible for these Rugrats. You did this to us.
Yeah,
in a weird way, he's my father-in-law.
When we first got together, neither one of us had a car, so we only seen each other on the weekends. So throughout the week, we just talk on the phone, and that's the only way we could watch a movie together.
Yeah. I mean, like you telling us this story is just like, what
dreams are made of.
Yeah, because and I've talked about it on the show multiple times that I have goals, like just these goals that I want to meet in my life. Like, okay, well, and in comedy I have specific goals, and I've been reaching. Like, I'll make a goal, and then I get to that goal. Like, my first goal in comedy was that I wanted to open for Dusty Slay. And then...
After 5 years.
After I was like, in 5 years, I want to open for Dusty Slay. And it happened a few months later. And then...
Nice.
You featured
Yeah, not only did I featured for him on a weekend. And then we became pals. And she was like, okay, well, you did your goal. What's your next one? I was like, I want to go on the road with Dusty. Like, that's my next goal. And then it was like a month later, he called me and was like, hey, can you come to Alabama? And I was just like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then, but then she was like, okay, well, what's your next goal? And I was like, it's not completely comedy related, but the only way it'll happen is through comedy. I want to meet Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, you're going there. Yeah. She's like, you're really shooting up there. I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's like the next goal. But, yeah, dude, I love this. Yeah. I love it. And then just to see, like us doing the shows this weekend, and like I said, the way that people react to you is awesome. Because they see, like, you have, for lack of a better word, like, star quality. Like, you just see you on stage, and hanging out with you, like, you're charismatic and everything, that's cool. But, like, whenever you get on stage... It's like last night whenever you got on stage, the first thing you said, my mom leaned over to me, and she's watched your videos, I've sent them, and she leaned over, she's like, is that his voice? And I was like, oh yeah, that's what he sounds like. that's just the way he's going to talk for the rest of the time. He's from Florida, leave him alone. But it's like, it's so cool to watch these people just...
Like, you don't know how impressive it is that he can talk at all. You're going to make fun of the way he does it?
What a jerk! But no, it's just so cool, like, these people that just, like, instantly are invested. They're just like, yeah. And then to see these things happen, because, like, we've only been friends for, like, a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's been completely, like, random messages every now and then. One of us will just message them, like, oh, dude, that looked like a cool show.
Yeah.
You know, hey, man, what's going on? Like, we'll just random messages like that, and then whenever you're coming through town, you know, you came, the last time you came through town, you stopped and caught a show, and we hung out for a little bit.
Yeah. I saw you at Gutty's in Indianapolis.
Yeah, so, and it's like, it's not like it's been a long friendship, but we talked about it that night, to where it's like every now and then you just meet somebody where you're just like, oh, you're my guy.
Yeah, dude, I talked about that on another podcast, like talking about like being autistic and like social anxiety and stuff. Like, I don't know what it is, but like other autistic people like I've talked to, they say it's the same way. Like, not everyone makes us uncomfortable. Some people you're just naturally, like, as soon as you meet them, you're like, this is fine. This is great, actually. Yeah. You know, and it was that. It was like, I can be me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he likes, this is great.
I think that was one of the first things you said to me. Like, after the show, we were outside, and you're like, dude, I could just be myself around you. And I was like, yeah, dude, we're family now.
That's part of Jake's charm.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just, Whatever, man. We're all just people.
Yeah.
We're all just doing the thing. Sometimes it's cool to
I
do it
don't
together.
Dude, I think it's
people-
because you were a pastor. Because pastors are basically like therapists for poor people.
Yeah, that's.
So it's like,
actually
oh,
true.
big therapy energy.
But I think it's more if I was a preacher because of I'm already like that.
Right.
So
That's
that's why I thought that's the direction I was supposed to go. Is
Just
because
That's
people are
why-
drawn to me, and I
You got
People
camp
open up to
counselor
me.
spirit,
That's
man.
actually why he got.
and
That's
I look
it.
like a camp counselor.
He got put in the position he was in our church
You look-
because people were.
You look
drawn
like
to
a
him.
camp counselor at a camp that only hires reformed felons.
You look like the guy that cuts wood at that camp.
Yeah, you. Yeah. That's why we get along so well.
Exactly.
I'm starting.
It's like, hey, buddy, you want to pair up and we'll just run things with Cabin 6? We'll win the camp trophy this year.
We're starting this camp.
We're gonna build our own
I'll-
go-karts
I'll
this year.
I'll be the camp nurse.
Yeah,
and
dude,
there we
we're
go.
doing
We look like the success stories from fat camps in the 90s.
Yeah. But mine is like, yours is a success
Like,
story,
look,
and
kids,
mine's
if you
like-
try really hard, this is the best you can do.
And they're like, well, they're still kind of chubby.
Exactly.
They're not that skinny.
Look, we're not saying you're not going to have terrible knees.
Yeah, look, we didn't lead with those guys. Remember the 6 skinny dudes we showed you first? Aim for that, but at least achieve this.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of like a cult, maybe we can just start with just the camp first. Mm-hmm. We'll do
And
just
then nobody
camps.
leaves.
Yeah. Well, that's Friday the 13th. Now you're calm down. Now you're getting creepy with it.
Those people left.
Okay, then it's like American Horror Story 1984.
Okay, there we
Because
go.
those people didn't leave.
Yeah.
They stayed.
I know they left Camp Crystal Lake in bags,
And
but
back,
they
but
left.
they were
They
gone.
did leave.
Yeah. And then,
They left as luggage.
We talk about movies a lot on this podcast. Do you get down on TV movies a lot?
I get down on movies. And
Yeah.
Let's get
That's
into
kind of one of the
You
first
know-
things getting my autism diagnosis and talking to him about. That was like one of the first things he noticed. He's like, you fixate on like pop culture stuff, and I was like, yeah. I joked with my friends my whole life. Like my friends will call me and be like, hey, what was this actor that was in this thing? And I'll tell them like the actor, the name of the movie, all that. I'm like a human IMDb.
How old are you?
I'm 33.
33, so same age as me. So that's why, because we're all 90s kids, and TV was our babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you been watching? Like, what have you been into here lately?
Here lately, so I finished Squid Game
Amber
recently.
told me about that.
Yeah. I need to watch it. I've not even started it yet.
It's good. It's dark, but it's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. I just finished the other night. I finished that like Marvel What If, like that animated multiverse.
I've not watched it, but the boys keep telling me. My sons, they're like, Dad, you got to check it out. And then I
It's so
literally
good.
was just reading What If Wolverine fought Conan. So I'm reading the
That sounds
comic.
cool.
Yeah, it's right over there. I'm reading the comic, and then Holden walked by and he's like, "Oh, you'll read the comic, but you won't watch the cartoon." And I'm like, "I'll watch it, dude. Come on."
Yeah. And then the other thing recently is Netflix has been adding a bunch of like 90s comedies over the last couple months. Like they'll sneak one in every like update or whatever. So I've been catching up on some of those.
Yeah.
Like I rewatched the original Mortal Kombat movie recently.
I like it.
I like it
I think
too.
it's pretty good. Not only that, but who's I'm gonna have to look this up, or you might know who plays Sonya in it.
Oh, I don't know that one, but she's a very attractive lady.
But that's the thing is like this movie, a lot of people give it a lot of flack because they're just like, oh, well, it's such a bad movie. But like Christopher Lambert is in it, first of all, which is great. So the one who plays Sonya is Bridget Wilson Sampras, which is Veronica Vaughn from Billy Madison.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So that's, and then she's also, there was a movie that I just watched that had her in it. And, what was it? It was like an older movie that I was like, wait, what? Is it? I was like, oh, it was I Know What You Did Last Summer. She's Elsa. She's the older sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
So because I was watching it and I looked and I was like, wait, that's Sonya Blade.
Well, I know like slightly more obscure references, like the dude that plays Shang Tsung. Is also the grandpa in Johnny Tsunami, the Disney Channel classic.
Dude, we watched something. I think it was Johnny Tsunami whenever we got Disney Plus, and it was on there, and I watched it.
Yeah, because we watched.
And
all those
I had
movies.
said that.
Okay, speaking of movies, we're Disney and TV kids from the same era, so you guys are probably all already aware of this. But Disney just dropped it because it's Halloween. The best Disney movie of all time, Under Wraps, the straight to television classic.
So,
clicked on that.
But here's the thing: there's two. There's a remake that they did, but so you're talking about.
I'm talking about the OG.
The OG
yeah.
one. I need to watch it because I feel like I've seen it, but I think that I may be getting it confused with an old Goosebumps episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because there's a Goosebumps episode that's pretty close to it. I think. I could be wrong. But I think so. Because I think that Vampire Breath, I believe, is the Goosebumps episode I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's close to it. But I could be completely, maybe I watched them both, on the same night.
Like
and then
that,
they're connected in my head.
Or like that, what's it called? I can't think of the name of the actual theory behind it, but do you remember how, people collectively remember...
Mandela Effect.
Yes, the Mandela Effect. Yeah, the Shazam movie with Sinbad that never happened. Yeah.
So that one is interesting because people are talking about that one so much... And there's actual photographic evidence, people say, of it, where there is a picture that you can find with Sinbad.
Yeah, but it's from Sinbad in a commercial or like an SNL sketch or something.
But there's been a couple people lately that have come out and been like, I was in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, this is new. I just seen an article 2 days ago where somebody was like, yeah, that movie was real. I was in it. Sinbad just doesn't remember. And it's like, how could you not... Remember,
so someone in Hollywood has just been gaslighting us into thinking that we didn't remember this movie?
But at the same time, that movie, if it is what people think it is, was also the type of just straight to Disney movie where they probably wrote it in a day, they probably filmed it in 2.
The Star Wars Christmas special. Basically.
Yeah, where they're bury it.
Yeah.
They're like, don't ever talk about it again.
Yeah.
Bury
They were
that
getting that commercial and Kazam confused.
Well, that technically is what a lot of people is doing.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying, is that you're just getting that confused. But there's people that are like, no, I swear I've seen it.
Okay. Rewatched that, maybe a year or so ago, the Kazam movie with Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Okay, again, random IMDb brain. The little kid from that movie grew up. Obviously, yeah.
Weird.
Have you guys ever?
Wait, what? You're blowing my mind.
You guys ever seen Veronica Mars?
Yes.
He's the the Spanish street tough dude in Veronica Mars.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That's my
white child grew up to be a Mexican man.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That rarely happens.
Yeah. He literally, as a little kid, he looked like Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea. We've been you're watching Halloween Town 2 right now.
I just watched Halloween Town while I was I finished Why Women Kill, and then I watched Halloween Town, and then I started this.
Do you watch any horror movies?
I do. Actually, the new Netflix did it as that trilogy that the Fear Street.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
Jake and Jasmine watched that together, and she kept begging me. She's like, "Mom, watch Fear Street with me," and I was like, "I will when I have time." And she has these Fear Street books, so I thought it was just a more mature version of Goosebumps. I didn't know they were actually scary. And when was it? When you went to Minnesota?
Yeah, when I was in Minnesota, you watched it.
I
And
watched
you were
the
texting
first
me, and you're like,
two.
"This is scary."
I went and got her. We watched the first one on the couch, and then the second night we watched it here in the bedroom. And I was like, Daddy's gone, so you have to stay in bed with me. And then
What is she gonna do? I don't understand your logic behind that. Are you gonna throw her at the murderer?
I'll tell you my logic in a minute. And then I watched the third one by myself, and I went to her room and got her out of bed, and I said, I need you to come sleep with me. But my logic behind this is if I'm in here by myself, I only have to defend myself. I'm going to die much faster. But if my kid's in here,
you
I'm
have motivation.
Yeah, you're going to mama bear it.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Because for me, if I'm scared and have like Holden sleep in the bed with me, it's because he's slower than I am. I know I'm going to get out of this room way quicker than he is. And then I'm locking the door behind me.
If some dude is like standing over me and I'm by myself, I'm going to get scared and I'm going to freeze up. But if they're standing over me with my kids, I'm going to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
I feel like
out.
if you wake up and there's a dude standing over you, he's not good at his job anyways.
Yeah.
You should have already been dead. You know, like if you're sleeping.
I guess that's true.
Dude, I just listened to a true crime podcast not so long ago about this guy who would break into people's houses while they were sleeping and just hit them in the head with a hammer while they were asleep.
I took care of a patient one
That's
time.
insane.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's too much. Never mind. I was going to say something, but I don't know if I'm breaking HIPAA.
You probably are. So at least don't do it on the podcast.
It's a very unique circumstance. So
yeah. Maybe just at least don't do it on the podcast.
But so you watch Fair Straight?
I did. Those were really good.
Yeah.
Now, did you like all three of them the same, or was like the first one like so good, the second one blew your mind, and the third one was okay?
I actually really liked the third one.
The third was
a lot.
my favorite.
That makes me happy.
That was
though.
like the back and
See, and that makes me happy
Yeah.
though,
That was my
because
favorite.
she said the same thing. Because to me, the
Like
third
they
one,
they literally build on each other so well
yeah.
that
I never really get into like that time period of movies.
Oh, I do.
So that was my only issue. But I am such a nerd for like camp horror.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue I think with me is that the second one
That hit you in your favorite.
that was I was like, I mean, you're talking about, you know, we're in, what was it, the late 70s, early 80s, so this is the late 70s. You're talking about a killer with an axe wearing a mask running around a camp. Like that's my genre.
And
That's everything. Like my favorite American Horror Story season was 1984 because it all takes place in the camp.
The third one, that's what do you call that? Like the Puritan era.
yeah.
I like that stuff.
I liked it even more that they managed to combine it with the what was
That was
happening.
rad.
Yes,
I did dig that.
Like that, I think that even added to the camp and gave like the whole camp thing a whole new take. Because like, when was there a camp where someone like the killer is literally someone who was slowly driven crazy and then like taken over by a witch?
Yeah. No, I mean you're right.
An ancient witch.
Yeah,
you know,
ancient witch, dude. They were so good. I'm gonna rewatch them.
Yeah. We haven't watched them together.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch.
Spoilers. Sorry, I
guess we
they
should've
should
said
know
that.
by now.
Yeah.
We're usually pretty good about at least giving a while before we'll spoil something. Like, there's some stuff like we just recently watched the new Halloween movie. We watched it Friday night.
Have you watched that?
No, I haven't yet. Is it good?
I'm not gonna do any spoilers at all.
Yeah.
But to me, what I feel like, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say they're obviously gonna do another one because they're setting it up like that. Anyways, I'm gonna hold off on saying how much I like it until I watch the last one.
Gotcha.
Because I don't think this is the last one. It could be, but if it is, then that sucks. And I don't think it is. I think there's at least going to be one more. Which typically whenever they do that anyways, they do trilogies. Mm-hmm. Which even though this is a continuation from the original Halloween movie, because it's like they had the one that came out like last year or the year before,
2018.
whatever, which was a direct sequel to the first Halloween movie. So all the other ones are not even canon anymore. They just got them out of there.
That's the thing, like...
But this is going to be like a trilogy.
All the
I think
Friday the 13th are still in canon with each other.
Sure.
But I mean,
technically,
yes, they are.
But
Halloween.
Well, hold on. There's
not
which one is the Friday the 13th where it's like the real weird one that deals with like possession and everything, and then all of a sudden there's a Mr. Voorhees, like there was a dad, and then they go to the house. I don't know if that's canon. Because that one,
I don't know. That one's weird.
Weird.
It's also like Jason in Space, Jason X. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, but that's in canon because the way that happens is that he's frozen. The military gets him, and then he's frozen, and then years later, people would get him and take him on the ship. So like that I could still see being canon. But
Yeah.
the one that confuses me...
That's true.
Is it Jason Goes to Hell? I can't remember which one it is for sure. Which I should, and I'm a jerk.
I know
for
it's
not
at the
remembering.
very end, like Freddy's claw. I think it is, because Freddy's like claws come out, and that's when they originally planned on doing Freddy versus Jason, but it was years later where they did that.
So you're talking about the one where he is,
Where like they show
all
his
the possession and everything.
I think so. I don't know.
I know that. So that's that. Well, they start kind of melting
Melting
together
together.
after a while, because that's.
Like I obviously can remember the first one very well, that it's the first one, and the third one, because that's the one where if you're not watching it in 3D, some of the stuff is very weird.
Yeah.
But I also think, because I don't think it's even called Friday the 13th. I think it's just called Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
That was
it's
a
called
Jason
Goes
movie.
To Hell,
That
the
was-
Final Friday.
Yeah.
So this is the one that
Which
came
one
out
was
in
it?
'93.
Yeah,
this
it was
is the
not.
one. This is the one that I'm talking about. And it says serial killer Jason Voorhees' supernatural origins are revealed. I don't know if that's canon. Because it gets pretty weird, and it's technically not called Friday the 13th, and I think they did that on purpose. I'm pretty sure there was like a licensing issue with it.
But I mean, he would have to be of supernatural origins. Like, he drowned and then lives in the bottom of a lake like old Greg.
But then he also ages.
Drinks Baileys from a shoe.
Do you love me? Did you learn to love me? I showed you my downstairs mix-up. But the
It's a
thing,
mangina.
I call this one old Greg.
Yeah.
But the thing with that too is that he has to be supernatural, because not only does he drown and then live, but then it's years later, and they never say that it was a dream in the very first one at the end of the movie where he jumps up and grabs her and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They make it seem like that really happened, and then the next movie he's an adult. So he went from being a boy in the lake to the next movie he's an adult.
Yeah.
I think it, because the second one starts right off with her in the hospital.
Yeah.
I think.
No, they're like it was just you and everything, but it's like, I don't know, I just feel like...
No, but it was because the cops were right there, and
Yeah.
so they went and got her, so she did just dream that.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say, man.
Yeah, she does like wake up in the hospital
Yeah.
at the
Yeah, I
end.
remember that.
Yeah.
But I just...
The boy!
Yeah, that was a good impression. That you
It
said
was.
Where's the boy? I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't feel like Jason Goes to Hell's canon.
Okay.
It might not
Maybe
be.
that one's not.
Okay, so Jason. Okay, do you remember? This has been a couple years now, maybe like 2015, somewhere around there, when they rebooted Friday the 13th,
With Sam from
yeah, with Sam from Supernatural. That
They're
one was
kind of
actually
like
very good, but
That
also
one's good.
features one of my favorite. I love when something happens in a horror movie that makes people laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw that one in theaters. And when the body drops on the car and the obnoxious jock dude screams like a girl,
Yeah. Yeah.
the entire theater died
Yeah.
laughing.
There's actually a few funny parts in
Yeah.
that movie. I only have one gripe with it. It's a good movie. I
Yeah.
feel like it is a good movie. I just kind of almost wish it wasn't a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Because the way they made Jason is they almost... Like, the creepy thing about Jason is it's supernatural. Like we were saying, it's like... There's no stopping him. How did he get from that place
How did
to
he get
this
there so
place?
quickly?
But then you watch this, and he's like got these tunnels, and he's
It's
super
almost
fast. He's like running all
he's
over the
just a really
place.
smart serial killer. Instead.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
almost made
Yeah.
it too realistic to where it's like, man. But I get that a lot of people probably like that because it's like it makes it more.
They
real
almost
to them.
combined him with Leatherface.
I was
Yes.
literally
Yeah.
going to say that.
100%. No, I mean,
Yeah.
for real. That's really, I feel like, what they did.
Yeah.
They almost just, like, took one of the guys from Wrong Turn and just made a whole movie about him. Like, so that was my only gripe with it, but it was a great movie. And, I mean,
Yeah.
Sam from Supernatural. Like, dude, that's all Sam. We love Supernatural.
Same.
Oh my god! Have you watched all of it?
Huh? I may not have finished the last season.
Finish it.
Yeah, I need
It's-
to.
You would know if you finished
Yeah,
it.
it is. It's one of those things where there's certain shows that I never watched the last episode of until, like Sons of Anarchy. I never watched the last episode until this year.
Yeah.
And
He's
just
like-
because I was like, nah. I was like,
Yep.
I know what happens. People spoiled it for me. If I don't watch it, though, it never happens.
Yeah.
But Supernatural did such a good job of just
so good.
wrapping everything up in a delicious New Jersey ham roll and having Jason Mewes deliver it to you. Like, it's just so
Okay.
good. So definitely check.
Barry.
And that's the show that's on
It's on
HBO, right?
HBO or Showtime? Yeah, I think HBO.
Yeah.
But it's Bill Hader.
Yeah, who's amazing.
Love Bill Hader.
Yeah, he's so
Dude,
funny.
he's one of my favorite. I love like when SNL cast members break character because they're laughing. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was one of the best at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, though, back in the day when Jimmy Fallon did it, it always irritated me.
I think it's because you could tell Jimmy Fallon wasn't really breaking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you could tell he was kind of like fake laughing. Like Bill Hader, you could tell he just literally
Couldn't
couldn't
help it.
contain
He just
it.
couldn't
Yeah.
help it. Because, like, I love Jimmy Fallon now, like his show and everything. I like his show. But I did not like him on SNL. But going back and rewatching his SNL stuff now, I'm okay with him. But then, I hated it. I was like, why is he on this show? But, yeah, dude, Barry is so smart and funny. Have you watched it at
No,
all?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's so funny and smart, and it's like basically it's about a guy who's a hitman and doesn't want to be a hitman anymore, and he just wants to be an actor, but he's a horrible actor. And the Fonz is in it. The Fonz is like his acting coach and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But the dude that is in that show, the Russian dude,
That's
that's like all bald and everything. That guy is so funny.
so funny. Well, that's what reminded me because you were like, and we're ready to go. I was like, everybody ready to go? I was like, I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
Doing that guy's accent.
Yeah, he's so funny. Barry is a really, really good show.
Barry, we are best friends
We're best
now.
friends now, yeah? Why are you so mad at me?
Do you know what it is? He kind of it makes it even funnier, but he sounds like a Russian Christopher Walken.
Yeah, kind of. I think the thing that cracks me up the most is that he's supposed to be like this hardcore guy in the Russian mafia, and he's just like a sweetheart, but also will kill you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so good. Yeah, that is a fantastic
I
show.
need to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you would like it, but it's not like a show that you'd like
Wait
get
till, like, I
into.
retire one day and all I do is sit around and watch TV.
It's pretty
My
dope.
goal. That's my goal in life.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Because that's
Wait.
basically what I do. It's a really...
We gotta get on to Netflix so then she can stay home and just watch you on Netflix.
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
No.
The first day of your retirement, that's what you have to do. Is you're like, okay, but you have to watch my Netflix special.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but day one.
Yeah, mine won't be on Netflix. It'll be on Tubi. I got a Tubi special coming out. Plex.
Check out my first comedy special on MySpace.
Yeah. We're bringing it back. What's there was another show that we'd been watching here lately. I can't remember what it was.
We've been watching Scream Queens.
Scream Queens. Have you seen that?
I saw the first season, which, funny story, the girl in Scream Queens with the headphones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Billy Lord.
Yeah.
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 Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Debbie Reynolds' granddaughter.
Yeah. Which she's my favorite in the Scream
Oh
Queens.
my God, she's so funny.
So funny. She's so funny off screen. Like whenever she's not the one, I guess she's technically on screen, but whenever she's not the one that's
Not the
even
focus,
talking,
yeah.
and she's just in the back, it's the faces that she makes, dude. It's so good. Season 2 is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got John Stamos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
And
funny.
Christy Alley.
Christy Alley, yep, she's
Yeah.
also in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I always forget his name. Shark Boy, Jacob from Twilight.
Oh, Taylor Lautner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in it.
Which it blew my mind whenever she's like, it's Shark Boy. I
Yeah.
was like, wait,
You
what?
didn't know that?
I'd never watched him really, but the kids
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So I knew who it was just based off that. But we were talking about. Do you have anything else you've been watching that you want to talk about?
No,
before we
but since you brought up Shark Boy, if you want to feel real weird,
Yes.
Lava Girl was in the Sin City sequel Do you remember the
Yes.
like Bruce Miller's or whatever Sin City with Frank Miller? Yeah. Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis was
yes,
in it.
yes.
I see where you were going.
Yep. So the sequel to that, or like the second one that they did,
Kill for.
she's the prostitute.
Really?
Yeah. So Lava Shark Boy grew up to be a werewolf, and Lava Girl became a lady of the night.
So they're both doing stuff at night. You know, they're both
real active during full moons.
Yeah, they both have night jobs.
They both work third shift.
Yeah. You fit in perfectly with us, because this is the kind of conversation we have. Like, did you know that the person that was in this movie is actually in this one? So, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about as far as like what we've been watching?
Not at the moment. I'm sure it'll come
have you
up.
been keeping up with American Horror Story at all? Like the newest season?
No, American Horror Story is one of those shows, like, I started it, the first season was great, and then I was like, this show has a bunch of seasons and is still on TV, so let me save it. Kind of thing.
Well, the cool thing about that show, though, is since it's an anthology, you don't have to do that.
I
You
know,
don't have
and
to watch the seasons in order if you don't want, but it does help.
but I think that's what I'm gonna start doing is I'm just gonna watch binge one season at a time,
Yeah.
and then circle back to
I mean,
it.
you can skip ahead to 1984,
Dude,
which is season 9.
I'm telling you, 1984, season 9 is so dope.
Billy Lord's in that.
Yeah, she's like one of the main characters in it. And the whole thing, and Richard Ramirez is a big part of it. Dude,
Okay.
it's so good.
Okay.
And it all takes place, like, the majority of it takes place at a camp. So it's got heavy, heavy Friday the 13th feels. I love Friday the 13th. Those are like my favorite horror series, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, used to be.
Yeah.
But I love Friday the 13th now. Like that, man, it's so good.
My favorite horror movie franchise
Is Scream.
I love Scream.
Yeah, which I'm excited for the new one.
But also, since we talked about it already, Fear Street, like the opening of the first one, that like
yes.
almost shot for shot.
Yeah,
from
and
the
you know
from the beginning
who
of
she is,
Scream.
don't you? The girl. That's
No.
in it?
I-
So that's
I'm
Ethan
trying to-
Hawke's daughter.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's kid's an actor.
Yeah.
And Uma Thurman, right? Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's their daughter, and she's also in Stranger Things. She's Robin in Stranger Things. Yeah. Because that's what like Jasmine was trying to like school me on it. Like, oh, I know who that is. It's Robin from Stranger Things, and I was like, you know who? It
I didn't
really
know
is.
she was Ethan Hawke's daughter.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which he's got a new horror movie coming out, I guess, where he's like some creep wearing a mask or something and abducting people. I don't know what it's called, but I love
That's
Ethan
not
Hawke.
even a movie. That's just
It's
what
just
he
Ethan
does.
Hawke.
Yeah.
What, are you talking about The Purge? We've seen it.
Yeah.
We watched that for the first time not too long ago.
Yeah. Just the first one. I've not seen any. Or did we watch? Yeah, we watched
Yeah.
the first two, I think.
Yeah.
So I've not seen
the
any other
Black
ones. I watched the
Here's
first two
a
Purge
here's a
movies.
good one since you talked about the Purge. Okay, so Frank Grillo from the I forget which Purge movie it is.
Yeah,
I think it's the one like the political one.
Okay, so I've not seen that one.
So Frank Grillo, the Brock Rumlow from like the Marvel movies.
Okay.
He's actually a really good actor, like better than he gets credit for. But there's a show called Kingdom. Where he's like an older like MMA fighter with his own gym, and his sons are MMA fighters.
Huh, okay.
And his sons are Jonathan Tucker, like the. Have you ever seen Animal Kingdom on FX?
I don't think so.
You ever see? It's an older movie, but it's 100 Girls. It's an old
seen
comedy.
that either.
I don't
No.
think I've seen that one either.
American Gods.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the first episode of American Gods when Shadow is still in prison, the dude talking to him,
Yeah.
that's Jonathan Tucker.
Gotcha.
And I'm also sure in American Gods, that character that he's playing is the actual Loki.
Okay.
You're gonna go check on the animals at 1:40 in the morning?
How about not? I already checked on them earlier, so they're fine. Thanks.
Just wanted to make sure they're not dead, you know.
They're not.
Yeah, I think they're all right.
They're not. I fed them. Don't worry. Because he's just remembering he hasn't fed them.
Yeah, he's like, oh god, I gotta go check on the animals. Yeah, so I'm not going to bring Brillo
out
now.
either.
Full disclosure, that, like, oh no, I just remembered the animals. That's an object permanence thing. The out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Very common in ADD and ADHD.
Yeah, well, we've definitely had discussions that he's... We'll have it looked into. So, okay, let's talk about... now, as far as reading, I've not read anything else. You have this. I know you want to talk about it.
I have.
Well, no, that's not true. I have read stuff. You go first, though.
Okay, so... Okay, AJ up. My reading goal for the year was 15 books. I have now hit 30.
Yeah, I think she's going to make her goal.
So I don't remember. I think I talked about my 29th book, which was the third installment of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. And then yesterday at like 5 a.m., because I haven't gone to sleep yet, I finished my 30th book, which was Playing with Fire, which was my romance smut book that I wanted to read. And it was good and juicy like they should be.
Yeah, no, you woke me up.
Don't feel bad. My version of like romance smut is like not horrible because I really enjoy them, but like sci-fi, like obscure sci-fi and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I have like the Kindle Unlimited where you can just download like all the ebooks and stuff with Amazon. So I found these series like there because it's like people will write like 13 books in a series and I'm just like done.
Yeah,
I
love series.
So there's one that's like Lockdown, so it's like the Fugitive Marines series. So it's like Space Marines, you know?
Okay.
But it's, these dudes were like framed for like a crime by the government and they're like locked on a space station. And that space station is like the first thing that like this alien, like, intelligent life form reaches and starts like taking over people. So they escape from prison so they can get to Earth to like warn humanity that this is coming, and no one believes them. So they literally have to go back on the run to space to fight the aliens.
Oh, rad. Dude, I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
You would love
that one, and then there's another series, it's called The Last Reaper series, and it's about like basically like a cybernetically enhanced like former special operations soldier with an advanced artificial intelligence implanted in him.
I need to get into some of these sci-fi books. I like everything. So right now I just finished that romance book, but I'm re-listening to Harry Potter, and then I'm getting ready to start. So I have an audiobook, an ebook, and then a physical book usually. And the book I'm getting ready to start is the 4th installment of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book, which is So Long, Thanks for All the Fish.
Yep.
So, like, those are all very different from each other.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's great, reading all different kinds of stuff. Dude, if you're into that kind of stuff, if you like those types of books, there's an author, Keith C. Blackmore, and he's got the Mountain Man series.
Okay.
So it's called Mountain Man, and it's basically about this guy who is kind of just like, you could say an average Joe, but he's more like a slacker than anything. And then the zombie apocalypse happens, and it's like following this guy, like it's his story, so it's like how he's surviving it. And it's very well written, and there's a whole series on this. It's super funny.
Nice.
It's almost like the way he writes it is almost like he's just telling you the story. Like two buddies hang out and he's just telling it. And I really like that. But the cool thing about this is, and I don't think it's a spoiler because it's a pretty big part of one of the books. I don't think it's the first one. I can't remember which one. But like in my mind, I always thought like whenever I think of like a zombie apocalypse, I'm like, dude, I bet serial killers like would be so happy in the zombie apocalypse, right? Because like normal people just turn into complete psychos. But what if a complete psycho was in the zombie apocalypse and he's got a whole storyline about like a serial killer who was a serial killer before the apocalypse and like all these horrible things that he did before, but now he's living through the zombie apocalypse, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, Mountain Man, I highly recommend
Are those
them.
like quick
Nice.
reads?
Yeah, they're pretty
Like
quick.
the books you were talking about, quick reads.
Pretty quick
I don't
reads.
like too thick of a book. Like if you've got to make it more than 400 pages, to me, I'm like, all right, just give me more than one book then.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. For me, it really depends.
So this is like the Kindle, like on the iPhone app.
Yeah.
So iPhone pages, it's 388.
Oh, okay.
So in print, it's probably like 250.
Okay, that's what I like.
But since you were talking about the Mountain Man and the zombies, there's a great. He's actually one of my favorite. One of these types style authors.
Yeah.
His name is Jake Bible. Okay.
Okay. What a great name. That was my stripper
He's
name.
from he lives in like Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay.
And all of his different book series are all for the most part based in and around like Asheville.
Okay.
But he has a series called Zburbia. And it's about like one of those like a gated community that like turns their neighborhood into like a fortified community for the zombie apocalypse.
Oh.
But then like what happens to them, the community, all that kind of stuff, and then it like how it like progresses throughout the apocalypse. And there's like 9 books in the series.
Oh, nice.
And it's
6.
6.
There's 6 books in the series right here. The complete box series is about to be bought by me. On Audible, because I have 1 credit right now, and it's 41 hours and 53 minutes of material.
Oh, nice.
And bought. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
It's great. Like, his main characters it's Jace, like, in his family, and then there's this character, Elspeth, you get introduced to, who is maybe the greatest character of all time. Okay? When they first meet, she is basically like an underling to a cannibal, and they are going to eat him. He is captured by cannibals, and they are going to eat him. And throughout the rest of the series, after how it works out, how they end up like becoming like friends and allies and stuff, she nicknames him Long Pork.
All right.
Okay.
Which is what cannibals refer to people as.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Long Pork.
Is that like a actual thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Long pork.
So keeping with the same pace that we're talking about right now, have you heard of Mark Tufo?
No.
So that's somebody else. It sounds like you would be really into this. Mark Tufo, he's got, I'm wanting to say, I think Zombie Fallout was his first one, and then A Plague Upon Your Family is the second one. And it's like the same type. It's a zombie apocalypse. I really like zombie books. But it's basically this was like around, I think, H1N1, and it was kind of like a variant of that caused everybody to become zombies and everything. But these are really good books too. He's got a whole series that goes along with these. So it's called the Zombie Fallout series, and I really liked his writing too. But my issue with him is I read like the first few of the books, but then I felt like they were kind of getting repetitive. So that was my issue with those. So I never finished the series, but I think Krista has finished the series.
Okay.
So, those are dope.
I don't really get into zombies. I like vampire stuff. I'm a big Anne Rice fan. So if I do read a thicker book, it's usually hers, and that's only because I'm invested.
Hey, I've seen how thick some of those romance novels come, okay?
Well, the ones I read on my phone aren't very big, because I would get bored easily with that.
They save all that space not having to put Fabio on the cover.
Yeah. The only things I've actually currently been reading, though...
If you want Fabio on the cover, you got a 400-page minimum.
Yeah, that's it. That's in his contract. Whenever I was here lately, I've been watching Young Sheldon. Mm-hmm. So that was the other show I couldn't think of. I've been watching Young Sheldon because you were watching Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And then I've already watched all those, but I realized I hadn't watched Young Sheldon. It's a good. It's not as good as Big Bang Theory, but it's still definitely a good show to watch.
Like, I get snippets of it when I'm in patient rooms, and
yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. But there was an episode the other day about like the first time he went in a comic book store, and then he was just talking about the X-Men comics, and I was like, I really want to read an X-Men comic right now. So I came in here and I was just gonna get out the X-Men comics. And then the boys came in, and before you knew it, we had like I was pulling out like entire story arcs, and I was like, all right, let's read these. So I've been reading a lot of comics lately. But the only thing that sucks about reading the comics is if I'm reading single issues, I don't count those in my yearly goal.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like I'm like wasting time. Like I should read a different book, but they're so good. Like that What If Wolverine fighting Conan, that was dope. That whole thing was so good.
I feel like now that, because this was supposed to be our year of mind, and I don't feel like I've been investing in my mind that much other than reading a lot. But I feel like now that I've doubled my reading goal, it might be okay to start downloading, like, even though I don't want to, I feel like I should, like nursing articles and actually learn stuff.
Dang, I thought you were going to say Stephen King.
You know they have podcasts for that.
I know, I know. But I need to, like, get some, like, the actual, like, journals and stuff, but...
Well, the cool thing is tomorrow I have 8 hours on the road.
Yeah.
So I can get the majority of that whole series read tomorrow.
I thought it was 41 hours.
It's 41 hours.
Oh, was it? What was the one? Oh, I was looking at the... you just looked at me like, really?
We'll get through a book and a half.
No. The zombie Fallout.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was... Just so everyone... I'll prove it. Zombie Fallout is 10 hours. That was the last thing I looked
Me and
at.
AJ were so confused. We're like,
You're going to get through one.
Time might work differently for you on the road than it does us.
Well, I mean, there's...
Only way you're finishing that book series on that road trip is if you're abandoning your family.
Yeah. There's a time difference between here in Nashville. Right? There's the time difference. I think it's you got to carry the two.
You know, you're like 8 hours. It's 4 hours there and 4 hours back. Not like you have 8 and 8. Well, I guess because you're driving it one day. Is that what you meant? Like round trip? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, I'm just checking.
Jeez, lady. I think this would be a good time for us to do a mental health check-in. So every week we like to do this where we just kind of stop and we talk about like what's going on like with our mental health. Most of the time it's been pretty good. Every now and then it's like, I'm struggling with this, struggling with that. I'll kick it off by saying that here lately my mental health has been superb. I've been feeling really good. I think that we had like we've not getting into it, but like we had a pretty horrible thing happen to our family.
It's still happening.
That's that in our family. I wouldn't say like to our family, but in our family. And dealing with that has been really rough and everything, but kind of like stepping back from that and looking at everything else that's going on right now in our life, things are really good. Like I feel confident, I'm happy, I like the direction that I'm going in my career. I like the direction that things are heading as a dad, as a husband, as a friend. I think that things are going really good. I don't have a whole lot to talk about mental health wise this week because I feel like I'm solid. I feel very good. How depressed are you?
I'm okay now. So last week which sucked because we were in Disney last week, but last week was kind of hard on me. I've been really, really irresponsible as far as when my periods hit, and I didn't realize how close it was coming. If I know it's coming up and I start to feel like real down and depressed and stuff, I'm like, hold on, let's give it a few days, it might stop. And that's what ended up happening. Right. Yet again, I need to go to the doctor and figure out if there's something I can do for my hormone levels at that time, because I know that that's related to it a lot. So I'm good this week, but last week it was really bad, and not realizing my period was coming up made it even worse, because then I was like, oh, this is just me, and I'm just sad, and not being like, oh, it's my hormones. Sometimes I would rather you, like, be angry. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't have the anger. Yeah, you get super sad. For a long time I did. Yeah, I don't know. I think you were just always sad. Yeah. Always sad girl. But now I'm sad, and, like, the worst part is you make me sad because I feel like you get no, dude. I'm over trying to read 41 hours of a book in 8 hours. I feel like you get like really short with me and you don't. But every like little irritant that comes your way, I'm like,
not that
oh,
tall.
it's my fault. Shut up. I'm like, oh, that's my fault, and I don't know why I'm annoying him so bad. And then you ask me if I'm okay, and I'm like, I'm fine. And then you do get mad at me because you know I'm lying to you. So, but this week's good. The Shark Week is over, and I'm a little better. Sorry if it's too much info for you, AJ.
Not at all. I appreciate the Shark Week reference. That was great.
Yeah. Well, you know.
We're honest on this podcast.
That's what's actually in the Jaws
Yeah.
box.
That's it.
That is backup feminine
That's
hygiene.
all that is. It's just a whole box full of pads. The whole thing.
Candy in
chocolate.
there.
Yeah. It's just chocolate. This is Shark Week. Here's some chocolate. I don't know. What's how you doing mentally?
Mentally doing okay. I had a rough couple weeks, like when I was like moving up to Kansas City and trying to get settled in and stuff, and because there was just so many things in the air at one time and all that. But it got settled in, like all that kind of stuff. So the only issue I'm really having right now is like the issue, like something we were talking about before off microphone, was like trying to regulate my sleep, because like healthy amounts of sleep is a pretty important thing mental health wise, and I suck at it.
Yeah.
You know, so
well, it's probably also depending on where you're at. A lot of times, it's probably hard because you may be doing comedy. Like we're up a lot, super late. I mean, like right now, you know, we're hanging out at 2:00 in the morning doing a podcast, and then you go to sleep, but you're sleeping outside in a van, so you don't get the quiet darkness.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you have like it shielded and everything to where it can be dark in there, but still, like I'm sure you probably can't help but get up early a lot of times, can you?
No, I'm normally. It depends, like weather, like we've got here right now. Like, you know, it's going to be in like the 40s tonight. It won't be warmer than 70 degrees all day tomorrow. Yeah. Like, I can pretty much sleep wherever. And, like, that's normally what I do. Like, weather's nice. I'll find a shady spot so it's not going to get too hot when the sun comes up. Yeah. But, like, fucking in Florida in the summers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we were just there. In our pop-up, so it's just canvas. So when the sun hits that canvas.
Yeah. Same thing in a navy blue van. The sun hits it and it starts cooking in there.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd wake up basically just like I'm in a sauna. But like today was great. Slept in the state park last night.
Creek,
yeah. I like pulled into a place like in the back of the park, like away from most people, like near the Wolf's Creek Cave, parking.
Wolf Cave,
So parked way back there. So the only people coming and going were people leaving the campground area.
Yeah.
So and I was like so far off, like away from civilization, that it was basically just a peaceful night's sleep. Like couldn't hear anything. Slept in, and then like when it got warm. Around like 11:30 in the morning, I just unzipped the bag so I could stick a leg out of my sleeping bag, and I was perfectly comfortable.
Yeah,
you know?
Nice.
But with your lifestyle, it would be hard to have a good regulated sleep.
Yeah, it's like the bigger problem I have is like right before I have to go somewhere, I'll mess up my sleep. Like so, in Kansas City, like right before I left to come here, I was working on that presentation, and I was literally at like 3:30 in the morning. My girl woke up and was like, "Hey, shouldn't you like get some sleep like soon and stuff?" Because I was getting up at 7:30 so I could get on the road by 8:30 to head here, and I didn't go to sleep until like 5:30.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll do things like that, drive. So like last night, once I got to the park, I got settled in, I watched maybe like 20 minutes of something on my iPad and then just...
Crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I unfortunately do a lot of stuff like that too, where it's just like, this was stupid. I shouldn't have done this. I should not have done this. I should have slept a little bit longer.
I get sleep guilt where I'm like, I'll do that. I'll have days where maybe the most that I get is 5 or 6 hours, and I definitely need more than 8 hours for me to function. And so then whenever I do get a lot of sleep, I'm like, oh God, I should be doing something right now. This is too late. I have so much stuff I'm behind on, and
I do not have that. Like, I'm cool. I'm fine.
I still have that sometimes where I'll be up until like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, sleep, and then wake up at like 12:30 in the afternoon. But there's just like that weird thing in your brain where you're like, oh, it's 12:30 and I'm just now waking up because I'm a piece of garbage. Like, it's that thing. I'm still working on trying to break that. Like,
when you figure it out, tell
what you call it? Yeah.
Because I've been on night shift going on. It's been over 5 years now, and still, especially when I'm working days in a row, if I sleep until 5 o'clock, which I have to leave the house at like 6:15 for work, I'm like, oh my God, I could have woke up at 4:30. This is way too late. Even though no one waking up at 5 a.m. would think that.
Right.
But that's where my mind goes.
Well, good. It sounds like we're all doing good then.
We're doing,
It sounds like we all just came out of stuff where we weren't doing good, and now we're doing good. And that's what mental health is all about. There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's not always, it's not always sunny. Sometimes there's clouds, but,
Do you know whose mental health is consistent and normal? Regular-ass people.
Yeah, yeah. Or I don't trust those people.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know those people, so
real
boring.
Like Charles Manson.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's always fine. Grant had a hilarious joke last night where he said that I look like the good devil on Charles Manson's shoulder.
No, he said Charlie Manson.
Oh, he said Charlie.
Yeah, because then he was like one of my friends, but now Charlie.
Charlie. Well. Well, real quick, we do want to take time to thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast. Thank you for supporting the show and allowing us to do this wonderful thing in our bedroom with cool people like AJ. Specifically, we want to give, we love everybody that gives, and thank you all, but we want to give a special shout out to one of our Patreon supporters, Veronica, and her new husband, Evan.
Congratulations, Veronica and Evan.
Yes, now I'm going to pronounce your last name. Bonnets?
Well, you were real worried you pronounced her maiden name wrong for a long time and you never did.
And I probably will mess this one up.
I don't think you ever messed up Rubadue.
No. They were at the show tonight.
Oh.
Yeah, and they
Well.
loved it. They were the ones that were sitting.
Yeah, I made Veronica snort.
Veronica's mom. That was her mom. Yeah, so Veronica's the one who just got married. So we just want to give a special shout out to them and tell them congratulations. Your wedding reception was beautiful. You were all dressed so great except for me. So thank you for...
You looked amazing, hon. You dressed exactly how they wanted you to. You were there for the part.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, whenever I walked in, and everybody's dressed so nice, and then I walked in like my vest and ripped up jeans and stuff, and I went up to be like, hey guys, just want to let you know I'm here. Thank you for having us. And I was like, hopefully I'm dressed okay. And they were like, we were wondering if you were going to dress up or just come as you, and we're glad you came as you. And I was like, well... Yeah.
Like, I'm officiating a ceremony, so I came as Tent Revival Jesus.
Yeah. Tarp revivals. More like it. So, congratulations. We love you guys. Thank you for having us there. And again, thank you to all of our other Patreon supporters. I think that's going to be it for this episode. It's been a good one.
Yeah.
It's been a great one. We don't have guests on very often. Only the best guests. Only the best. So
not everybody gets invited into the bedroom.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Don't worry about what happens off camera. Well, it'll be on camera, but off mic. Anyways, that's only for our Patreon supporters. So if you want to support us, on Patreon, go to patreon.com/laughandbeblessed.
Yeah.
And bless us.
Remember, this is their second biggest income stream that happens in this bedroom.
Yeah. You okay? You okay? I feel like you're...
I just picture everyone listening to this right now.
Awesome.
I work with some of these people.
Yeah, well, if you were better
Laugh and Be Blessed is also the OnlyFans username. So check them out there.
Really? Got a snort out of you too?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It was funny, but let's calm down. All right, you're getting out of control. You're making AJ uncomfortable.
My mind goes from one thing to the next to the next, so it just like jokes just keep popping in my head.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here with us. We love you very much. Don't forget to check out AJ's social media. Check him out. Shows. Is your website's up now, right?
Yes, website is up, ajwilkerson.com. AJ Wilkerson Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, and Captain Autism Comedy on TikTok.
Follow all of it. Go to his website. Watch out for him. Check his calendar. And if he's coming anywhere close to you, make the drive. Even if it's like 6-7 hours away. It's worth it. Make the drive. It's fine. 10 hours,
Yeah.
12 hours.
And if the show itself isn't worth it, I live in a van, so I am willing to barter some sexual services. Just...
He parks in shady places.
Telling jokes isn't the only thing this mouth does, okay?
Oh my God.
I like how you were like, I'll just find a shady place to park. Anywhere you park that van instantly becomes a shady
spot.
place.
That's
So,
true, yeah.
People don't go around that van anymore.
My van doesn't look like a comedian lives in it. My van looks like trafficking victims died in it.
And if you want to see a picture of it, go to his social media.
It's true.
and
It's
search
on
for
there.
it. And of course, you can follow me anywhere on social media, Jake Rubel, jakerubel.com. Join the podcast group at Jake and Chia Rubel's Blessed Ones on Facebook. We love you guys. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves, obviously. Take care of other people, too, if you can. I mean, don't be selfish. Don't be a jerk. Take care of things. Was that going Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
Take care of yourselves and each other. I did, and I didn't even mean to. You know, the only thing that I need to do now is just go get a prostitute and write a check out.
For services rendered.
Services rendered, and then boom, I'm Jerry Springer.
Cut me a check.
I gave you cash. No, don't worry about it. All right.
No, he didn't, IRS. Oh.
Remember, everyone, laugh and be blessed.